not pleased with the 2 preseason performances. What's your level of concern with the young quarterback here as we head into the regular season? McCarthy, I doubt I'd be stunned if we saw him at all tonight.
No way. No way. My level of concern is unchanged from earlier this summer. Like, I have more concerns about Drake Maye than most. I was harder on Drake Maye last year than I think most people. I worry about him turning the ball over. I worry about his ability to grasp Josh McDaniels' offense, or frankly, any offense in the NFL. He did not come into the league pro-ready. He's raw. The talent is there. It jumps off the screen. How can you deny it?
Yeah, it's not Mac Jones, for sure. Physically, he has all the tools to be a franchise quarterback, for sure.
I don't know if he has the aptitude. I don't know if he has the attitude. I don't know if he has the intangible factors. I don't know if he is a true leader. I think that's why Vrabel's really been on him this summer, which I think is good, right? Because if Drake Maye is going to be, if he's going to tap into his potential, and the sky's the limit with this kid because of the physical abilities and the skills that he has, he needs to put it together. He needs to put the other stuff together. It's why I feel good about Mike Vrabel as the head coach of the Patriots, because he's going to be on Drake Maye. He's going to expect a lot from him.
Yeah.
In the footage that we've seen in Forged and Foxborough and stuff like that, it really feels like Vrabel is on him. That's a good thing. Because if May is going to reach his potential, it's going to be because he can tap into the other stuff beyond the physical abilities. So what I've seen from him this summer hasn't changed my opinion on him either way. I like the fact that he's performing well in these joint practices. The best thing I've heard about Drake Maye this summer is on the day in Minnesota where the Patriots had a disastrous performance in their offensive line, Maye was able to still perform well, given the circumstances. In spite of the offensive line, he was able to overcome that. That's resiliency. That's what I want to see. That's competitiveness. Those are the things I question about Drake Maye. So that's good. I don't put as much stock in the preseason game as perhaps Bedard is doing. He did not have a good first drive. He had a much better second drive in Minnesota. I want to see the bounce back from him. That was good. That was encouraging. I'm not as down on Drake Maye right now as people are, but perhaps I was already there to begin the summer. You know what I mean? Like, I have always had questions about him.
So I'm on the other side. I'm a huge Drake Maye guy. This show as a whole
been
really
hanging out with Beetle too much.
Is a huge Drake Maye show for sure. I'm glad you brought up the preseason stuff because I think it's swung so far in one direction that it's over the top at this point in terms of his performance with Minnesota. Look, high throw to Matt Collins, I get it for sure. Still a completion, and then miss Pop Douglas. And I know the Orlovsky video going around too, where he had potentially a couple other receivers open there. The throw to Henderson, in the bucket.
Dime.
Awesome throw. Come back. Successful second drive. So I'm not going to ding him and say that this whole preseason has been a disaster because the 2 high throws in that preseason game. I just look big picture at it. The intangible stuff absolutely still has to be questioned. I'm not sure how you're going to answer that, though, to be totally honest with you, in training camp. And I'm not saying that you are looking for that answer in training camp, but I just don't think in the situations that he's been put in any situation for any quarterback in these training camps, how that's going to be determined. It's going to be determined by playing competitive football. And what do you do in those situations and in those moments? And that question for Drake Maye absolutely still needs to be answered. No question about it. In terms of the surrounding and everything like that, I look at the pairing with McDaniels. I think he's in a situation now where if he doesn't wind up being successful, it's not a situation where, hey, you know what? The coaching staff really sort of mismanaged this guy and totally just punted in terms of what could have been a really successful career. If he can't figure it out, I don't think it's because of the situation that he's put in. I think it's because, to your point, maybe those intangibles just weren't there the way that the physical characteristics are.
Okay, but people will blame Josh McDaniels if Drake Maye does not develop. They will. McDaniels will be the fall guy. I mean, there is a segment of Patriots fans, Tim, and you've heard from them. You've heard from them for months now, who are not on board with this. Oh, the system's too complicated for Drake Maye. The scheme isn't as good.
Okay, so this is what I would push back on, though. Like, what about the system or the scheme are we talking about here? Because the system and the scheme changed when Cam Newton was the quarterback.
Yeah.
The system and the scheme changed when Mac Jones was the quarterback. And in each of those situations, your offensive coordinator puts your quarterback in a position to be as successful as that quarterback could be. I'm not saying Cam Newton was a good quarterback. I understand in New England, he wasn't. You also didn't ask him to do the things that Tom Brady did. I think you maximized what you had in that quarterback at the time. Same thing with Mac Jones. We look back at it, and there was a lot of frustration there at the time where it was like, hey, you know what? You've kind of put this kid in handcuffs a little bit. You know, can we loosen the reins? Turns out, not a great idea with Mac Jones as your quarterback, right? Like the game plan there and playing to Mac Jones' strengths at that time with Josh McDaniels was the right way to approach it. And I look at this pairing with Josh McDaniels and Drake Maye. He's going to put that kid in a position where he's doing things that allow him to be as successful as he possibly can be. I believe that.
It's the most overblown story of the summer. Say what you will about Josh McDaniels. Failure as a head coach.
Yes.
And you know what, Tim? Questionable record without Tom Brady. Questionable track record. Be it in St. Louis or be it here. You know, we can poke holes in the Mac Jones year. We can poke holes in the Cam Newton year. We can poke holes in the Matt Castle year. We've done all of that. The fact of the matter is, he's an NFL quality offensive coordinator. And if Drake Maye can't figure out the offense, I'm sorry, that's on him.
Yes.
That's not on Josh McDaniels. It's not rocket science. It's football. And if Drake Maye can't figure that out, if he doesn't have the aptitude to figure it out, he's not going to figure it out any other way. He's not going to figure it out with somebody else. We overrate that thing. You know what the best thing I saw from Drake Maye last week? It's not the throws. The Henderson throw was great. I know he has that ability, though. I know he has the physical tools. The best thing I saw from him is getting up at the line, 3rd and 10, going to the helmet, audibling, handing the ball off to Travion Henderson because he read the defense, he took command, he made the play. The worst thing I saw from him was him being a dumbass and taking a delay of game. It's like, guy, you got to lead this team. You need to be a field general. So that's the stuff I'm worried about with him. Can he have a true grasp on the situation? Does he have the intangible factors? Does he have the intelligence? Can he be that thing? We'll find out.
It would have been nice if you played some competitive football in his rookie year. You just weren't in a lot of situations where you were allowed to do that at that point. So I think some of those questions we're going to have to wait and see, and that's going to happen this upcoming season. But the pairing with the McDaniels thing, I go back, like you said, failure as a head coach, for sure. What allowed him to be a complete dumpster fire in Vegas? The fact that he had success with Mac Jones and Cam Newton in terms of maximizing those quarterbacks, gave him the opportunity to be a dumpster fire. Drake Maye potentially being the guy. We talk about sort of successful seasons here for the Patriots, and we throw out win totals, right? 8, 9, 10. Some people have them at 11 wins coming into this year. But I think big picture, when we talk about what does a successful season look like for the New England Patriots, at the top of that list, McCarthy, for me, it's walking away from this year saying we have our quarterback for the next decade, and there's no debate about it, that Drake Maye is that guy. And if that is what you come out of this season with, even if you have them projected at 11 wins and they wind up winning 8 or 9, that's a huge win for the organization.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I mean, he has to take that next step. He has to prove, he can't have a Mac Jones year 2, right? Where you're going into year 3 and you're asking the same question. Is this our future franchise quarterback? Now, I feel much better about Drake Maye than I do about Mac Jones than I did about Mac Jones coming out of year 1, but that doesn't mean I still don't have doubts.
Coming out of year 1, though, even with Mac Jones?
I never believed in Mac Jones because I didn't believe in the physical abilities. I just didn't. I believe in Drake Maye's physical abilities. I don't know if he has the intangible factors. I do believe if there's a coach who can get that out of him, it is a coach like Mike Vrabel. So that's what I want to see. I'm not going to come out of this year and say, well, Drake Maye didn't have the right coach. I can say that about last year. Maye only won 1 game, which I've held against him. But in fairness to him, I can say, what do you really expect him to do with the team he was surrounded by?
Coaching
and more
staff.
importantly, the coaching staff he was surrounded by, the head coach he was surrounded by. I actually think Van Pelt was fine for him. Van Pelt, he's better fundamentally than he was when he came into the league. I think Van Pelt got a lot of crap, unnecessarily so, last year. But he's got, again, a quality, competent offensive coordinator. He has a quality, competent head coach. If I have questions about Drake Maye coming out of this year, then that's a disappointment. That's a failure for him. And that's a failure for the team as a whole.
It's going to be a completely different situation in terms of evaluating whether or not this guy is your franchise quarterback. I think it was a lot easier with Mac Jones for the reasons that you just laid out, because you walked away from his rookie year, which was successful, by the way, going to the postseason with a rookie quarterback and a guy that looked like he could sort of handle the offense. That's a win. Physically, never held up. And then, you drafted that guy for the shoulders up, right? And what he sort of brought to the table. And when he started to melt down in year 2, you're going, all right, well, now we've got a quarterback that physically is not an elite level quarterback. And now mentally as well is shot. We can just sort of move along. This is going to be a tougher evaluation because, like Tommy Curran said, the guy checks all the boxes from a physical standpoint in terms of what you want as a quarterback. So you're going to have a longer leash in terms of sort of figuring stuff out. And again, I do think he's in the right situation in terms of unlocking all that stuff and making him reach those levels that you're hoping for if you're a Patriots fan. But again, to me, more than wins and losses, because let's face it, I think this team, with the schedule that they have, if you get to 9 wins, but you do it with smoke and mirrors and Drake Maye isn't the quarterback and doesn't have the season that you're hoping for or projecting, you have much bigger issues as a franchise than what you would if you had a lesser win total and Drake Maye does look like that quarterback.
So I do think those things are going to go hand in hand. If the Patriots win 9 games, it's going to be because Drake Maye takes a step. And it's going to be because Drake Maye is capable of winning football games. Again, I believe in the physical ability. There's a reason he only won 1 game last year. He turned the ball over too much. They would have won that game in Buffalo, which was the best game they played all year, if Drake Maye didn't turn the ball over, if Ramondre Stevenson didn't turn the ball over as well.
Yeah.
Won 4 games. He only won 1 of them. Like, at what point do I say that is a knock on him? Because he was not good enough in big moments because he kept turning the ball over. Tennessee, same thing. Like, he has a great moment at the end of that game. And, the Titans go down and score, and then Maye just chucks a ball up.
Right.
And you lose the game because of that?
Totally. Inexcusable interception. There are other people that would say, you know what, if the coaching staff maybe picked the right direction to go in overtime, maybe that ball doesn't get hung up the way that it did in overtime as well.
Fair.
Right?
Okay.
Again, I would go back to a competent coaching staff and being able to pick the right direction in overtime.
But he has that now.
Yes.
So I will be able, I think, to pass fair judgment on Drake Maye. And I do think it's okay to tie that judgment partially to results. Because if they win 6 games this year, which I think would be a disappointment based on the way we're all talking about it, like, is Drake Maye a reason you're only winning 6 games? Because they should be in the majority of games they play. Their schedule is weak, and if you lose, if you go under 500 in those games, like, can I hold that against the quarterback? Like, what are you doing in big moments? What are you doing in clutch moments? Are you capable of running things the way they need to be run with the game on the line? I don't have the answer with that with him.